Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. And as promised, I'd like to introduce you to my 1968 Volkswagen Karmann Ghia. I've had this car for about 7 years, and it was originally purchased as a project for me to continue to learn after class while I was at McPherson, to apply a lot of the things we learned in class on my own outside of class. I've really enjoyed owning it, and now that I'm not doing automotive restoration as my day-to-day job, I can really focus in on this car and not be burnt out when I get home. So without further ado, let's take you through the rest of the car. So the body of this car, being a Texas car, it's very straight. It's fairly straight and fairly rust-free. Just the main areas of rust were what we had issues with. But the car has had a bit of an accident here that we'll be working on. It's kind of hard to get to with the headlight bucket and everything in the way. I'm trying not to have to cut that out to get that fixed. We did have to replace some rust up underneath the car in the spare tire well. And then as we move back down the car, when I was stripping it, I'm taking this car all the way back down to bare metal before I paint it again. It had been painted about 4 times. We see where the major damage was. This car had been sideswiped all down the driver's side. This part of the panel had been crushed in pretty hard, and the door got caught. And as you can see here, ripped open. There was a huge crease here that I've pulled out decently well. And the previous, when the bodywork was done, they had done what's called cave and pave, where they took a pick hammer and just hammered this all down in, and then they covered it over with body filler. The people who did the body filler were pretty good at that, because I couldn't tell that any of this damage was there. This was all nice and smooth. There was no issues. Paint was a little suspect, but that was part of the problem with the car having been painted so many times. I couldn't really tell that. But they pulled all in here. I filled all the holes where they used a sheet metal screw and a slide hammer to pull all the dents out. So those are all cleaned up, and they'll get worked up some more and finished up. And then at the back, the main rust area issue we had was the battery sits in the engine bay right under here, and the old lead acid batteries leak, and over time that'll eat through the metal. So all of the engine pan under here has been replaced. This panel has been replaced. I still need to do some work. I'm not really happy with how this panel came out. I'm going to do some work here. There'll be a video on that in the future as it wraps around. We replaced this whole quarter panel, and then all the way around the whole lower valence down here, the panel here, and then the inside, the middle apron and the driver's side apron of the engine bay. We'll get a good shot of that when we get to the engine. I'll talk about that some more. The passenger side of the car is in really good shape. Just had a couple little dents and dings for being a almost 60-year-old car. On the interior of the car, when I was stripping it out, I found what I believe to be the original color of the car, which I've saved here. Both door sills have this nice dark color here, this dark red, with nothing else underneath it besides factory primer and paint. So I'm going to leave that covered and saved on both sides. We're not going to go back to this original color, but we'll go over what we're going to do color-wise later on. You're going to have to stay tuned for that. So on the interior, two of the classes I took were Introduction to Upholstery and Advanced Upholstery. So these are the original seats to the car, but I have recovered them both with a modern Volkswagen tartan that you'd find in modern Golfs and GTIs, leather sides, and vinyl siding that all matches. Steering wheel, as far as I'm aware, is original. It had a really not pleasant leather wrapped covering on it that's been removed. I have all the original gauges. I have the functional clock that goes to be clock in here, speedometer here, fuel gauge here. My clock is functional and I do have it. It's just not here at the moment. Dashboard's in really good shape. Steering column was in really good shape. I do have the back seat. It is upholstered to match the fronts. As you can see, we still have a whole bunch of parts and stuff in here from when we moved the car from storage back to where we are now that I gotta go through. But the car has been, the floor panel on the driver's side has been completely redone. Needed to come out and get replaced. The whole pan has been truck bed lined and underlined, and then the interior has been covered in Dynamat to help with the sound. And we will be doing another layer of jute and then factory style carpet on top of that. The suspension is one of the first things I upgraded on this car after I got the body off. I based all of my choices off of a La Carrera Panamericana car. So I went with stiffer KYB shocks. I did a front drop about 2.5 inches. The rear was dropped with the spring tension arm. So nothing super crazy back there. All the way around, it's got brand new brakes, new discs, pads, and calipers up front, new drums, shoes, and springs in the rear. The whole car has brand new brake lines, hard and soft. I converted to a snap fit master cylinder reservoir, so it's right on top of the master cylinder. No more lines to leak inside the front trunk. The car is riding on Vredstein Sprint Classics, which are a modern version of a vintage looking tire. They're a modern radial with all of the technology that you get from a modern tire. They're really awesome and nice and smooth for the couple of weeks I've gotten to drive it. I hope you enjoyed the brief overview here of my 68 Karmann Ghia. Over these next few episodes, I'm going to be working on bodywork, which is mainly what's left, correcting some of the patch panels that I'm not happy with, finishing up a couple little rust spots that we have left to do. That's going to be my main focus right now, is bodywork, since most everything else has been finished up completely. We will also have to do some engine work and some interior work, and I'll take you along for all of those, but you got to stay tuned to see all the upcoming changes and to learn a little bit more about the car. Thanks. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.